It's Celeste, mountain climbing simulator extraordinaire. Okay, not really. It's really more of a platformer in the style of, I don't know, Super Meat Boy or Jumper, which would make sense considering the dude behind this created Jumper. Well, anyway, it's a pretty fun game, and it's one that I kind of had on my list for a while. I played it a little bit as a sort of a test, hence the character name Test in the first slot there, but I haven't seen too much aside from the critical main route, and I do want to go through the game here in more of a 100% completionist fashion. So, yeah, I look forward to that. Something about a protagonist in a platformer owning a car, especially one as ridiculously athletic as Madeline, is just entertaining to me. I don't know what the deal is. And yeah, I could have called her just about anything. You know, just name her DOC. No one can do it better. But that's, first off, a little egotistical for my blood. And second off, aside from thick eyebrows and clinical anxiety, I don't really have all that much in common with her. So, whatever. So yeah, Madeline's here to climb the mountain. Now you might be thinking, why am I not reading all the text on screen? I am still not going to do that, and you're not going to make me do that. Plot is pretty simple, but surprisingly more detailed than you usually get out of these type of games. Usually your Super Meat Boy, your N+, your, I don't know, I want to be the guy, I would almost put in the same sort of category. I like to call them challenge platformers, are light on plot, to say the least. So I can kind of appreciate a little bit more here. But let me tell you, I mean, you might be thinking that, hey, you want to do a 100% run? Oh, well, you don't know. Oh, no, I know about it. Or you want to do a 100% run? Well, what about the... No, I also know about that. I don't actually know what it entails or even how to unlock some of that stuff, but I know about its existence, so trust me, I'm prepared for this sort of deal. And I also know that the more... Oh, right. Yeah, thanks, but I already knew that coming in here. Stupid bluebird. Think I need your help to climb this mountain? Definitely don't. But yeah, main game, pretty simple, pretty... I mean, difficult, certainly, but not super, ultra, hyper difficult. And that's where you get most of the plot. But after that point, then it starts to get a lot more tricky. Let's say that. And I am aware just how tricky it can get. So starting out here, you got your basic jumping. Oh yes, post commentary by the way, because there's gonna be a lot of editing in this. Let me tell you. So you got your basic jumping. You got your H directional dash. Honestly, the ability to climb walls too. After you climb walls long enough, you run out of stamina and start to slide down the wall. You can jump off the wall at any point. Shit, that does not consume stamina, and it's usually good for later on. All pretty simple, easy controls here. Main gimmick of this first level is those crazy little, I don't know what you call them, stoplight platforms there. They got momentum on them, they'll move you around, and then when you jump off of them, immediately after they stop, not when they're still moving, you will get some pretty mad ups there, which you can use, well, which is exploited to pretty great extent a little later in the area, and certainly in some of the bonus content, let's say. And obviously the main collectible here is strawberries. Regular strawberries you just collect. You gotta be on some sort of arbitrarily designated ground to be able to actually collect them. Sometimes it's getting onto a different screen, or a different area. Whenever you see a screen transition, that's called a screen. It's a I want to be the guy terminology, I think, because that was made in Multimedia Fusion, which couldn't do scrolling, so everything had to take place in a single screen, basic resolution, blah blah blah. Anyway. And then there are also the strawberries with wings, which if you dash, they fly away, and there plays a little annoying Mario Paint-esque laughing sound. Every time you see one of those little mountain symbols like you saw in the start of that previous room, that means that you are in a new area here, so it saves your progress at that point. If you get out of this area before you get to one of the little mountain designated areas, then you don't get your progress saved. Theo. Huge, huge hipster. What a great guy. To be fair, he is kind of helpful, but it's just like, oh man. I feel like half the time in this first level, Forsaken City here, I spend talking to him. I'm just alone. I am going to exhaust all the dialogue and try to get everything here. I guess he arrived by a crashed plane? Whatever. But anyway, yeah, exhaust all the dialogue, so I'll be here for a little bit. You know, I gotta say, when I initially saw the game and I saw that it had the whole dashing mechanic, I was a little disappointed to learn that it was only 8-directional dashing. You know, up, down, left, right, up, left, etc. I was kind of hoping for more of a Dungreed type thing, where you were able to use the mouse to control what direction that you would be dashing into. And I was thinking that it's like, oh yeah, I got this game on lock. Well, at least we know that this takes place in the world that we know, not some sort of mystical fantasy world, despite the fact that it's clearly something different in some ways. I mean, certainly I don't know of any a real-life mountain named Celeste here. Celeste. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, the way everything's covered in snow. Ah, man. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking that if you could control it with the mouse, you know, just WASD and then right-click to dash, maybe left-click to hold on to the walls. I'm sure that's probably a real Instagram account. Ish. It's like, yeah, I would have been totally prepared after playing, what, 40, 50 hours of Dungreed there? That would have been great. But no such luck. And because this game does not suggest that you use a controller at the very beginning, like with the TBH. I hate this guy. But anyway, yeah, since it does not actually suggest using a controller like Dead Cells, for example, I am free to use the keyboard as much as I want, and I totally do. Oh God. I skipped past that as fast as I could. Anyway. So yeah, aspiring cameraman. Picture-taker type guy. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a real word for that, but I'm not sure what it is. Oh boy. Yep. I like to think of these games... I said before that I like to think of these games as being like challenge platformers, because there's a big difference between like this and a sort of Mario type thing, despite the fact that this game has some pretty blatant Mario references later on. One secret that you... I'll get into that later. But pretty much there's a small amount of exploring around, like in that strawberry there, but for the most part you are tasked with doing some sort of super precise jump. Some jumps more precise than others, figuring out the puzzle of how exactly you're supposed to execute the various moves that you need to. Man, boy, this really baffled me for a little bit here. I get it after I finish this area. Yeah, you're kind of supposed to puzzle out exactly what the intent of the creator was for each one of these screens to get through them. Less than actually, you know, finding your own path, exploring your way through the levels. Small amounts of exploration are required because there are secrets all over the place, but for the most part, I want to say, I'll get used to seeing the 500% deal here. Or just sudden cuts. Definitely, I'd say that what makes a challenge platformer a challenge platform is the fact that you... Come on, for real. Is the fact that you restart almost immediately, you have super precise controls, the sort of gimmick like the ability to climb onto walls is going to be exploited for all it's worth. Yeah, that's what I said, not exploited. What are you talking about? Now, I still need that strawberry. 100%, man. So there's going to be plenty of times later where you need to dash at exactly the right time, where you need to do this and that. But the fact that you respawn so quickly, and then that each area is so small and you're able to start at the start of the area so quickly each time, it really lowers the level of frustration. It really has you focusing on, you know, getting the super precise platforming down. I mean, I have played a few games like this before. Notably, I have 100% of the original I Want to Be the Guy, like way back in the day, back when that was a new game and not part of a whole series of fan games. So, I don't get as frustrated with like how the tedium that can sometimes come from having to redo something over and over and over and over. I mean, if anything, I think that after a certain point you get into kind of a zen state where you're just kind of along for the ride, where you know exactly what you need to do and you just need to execute it. Fortunately, I know, especially with these sort of games, it's like I might have the exact sequence of events kind of planned out in my mind, but then I know what'll happen for me is that I will sometimes just, for no reason at all, confuse the dash button and the jump button, or forget that I'm holding on to wall climb for a good 30 seconds or whatever. Because, oh man, that wall climb is very... Yeah, the trick there is that when it hits the top, if you jump off of that, the momentum will carry you directly into those spikes. Right there. Oh boy. Thanks, Matt Thorson. You jerk. Oh, but anyway. Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely, I think it's definitely about time. It's been long enough that I wanted to really play one of these games again. But not one like in I Want to Be the Guy that would be, for real, super frustratingly tedious in a lot of ways. Let me tell you, the original I Want to Be the Guy definitely did have its sections where it was pretty difficult. Ugh, yeah, I did not understand the timing for that, and that kind of comes back to bite me later. But yeah, a lot of the I Want to Be the Guy fan games follow the original I Want to Be the Guy's difficulty, but another thing to remember about the original I Want to Be the Guy is that it was pretty jokey and dumb and hokey in a lot of ways. But a lot of the fan games just focus on the fact that it's balls out difficult. Especially like a lot of the Japanese fan games that I've seen are way more focused on giving the player the ultimate challenge rather than, you know, the sort of gleeful, dumb nature that I think the original I Want to Be the Guy is going for. Celeste here definitely is a bit, he was a bit closer to, you know, being more of a pure challenge. But like I said, there's an actual story here, along with some for real difficult platforming. I can appreciate both of those, certainly. Also, a lot of little collectibles, pretty nice soundtrack, especially a soundtrack that we'll probably go into a little bit more later, but it is a progressive type of soundtrack. Yeah, there's the example of the strawberry going away. It's like a progressive type of soundtrack. It builds on itself as you go through the level. As this or that happens in the level, it gets extra layers, instruments, melodies added to it. It's pretty neat. It's definitely something that is there to create a certain type of mood, too, which I think becomes a bit more obvious as you get more into the game. But as of right now, aside from going through the ruins of this city, it's just like there's not really too much here aside from y'all trying to get through to the top of Mount Celeste. Yeah, those green crystals there restore your stamina, one, so that if you're climbing on the wall and you're starting to run out of stamina, you can tell that because Madeline will be flashing red. But they also restore your double jump, which, I mean, I'm sure you've probably noticed at this point. The hair turns blue when you've used the double jump, hair is red otherwise. It's same thing as the original Pico 8 type game, which I think is like... I actually would have to look it up, but pretty much the original, I guess, proof of concept Meat Boy to the Super Meat Boy type of game was also called Celeste and was made for this kind of fake console called the Pico 8. A fake computer or something like that. It's supposed to be kind of like an Amiga style thing. that exist to kind of be a catch-all for a bunch of different indie games. You know, that gives you the ability to make it easily without having to worry too much about learning, you know, Unity or whatever. The ins and outs of that. I mean, it should be pretty obvious what's supposed to be falling here and what's not. And you don't necessarily need to hit every single thing possible. Every single one of those to fall possible and still have it working. Oh, and you can also definitely see that this game was very, very much built for speedrunning. Yeah, I thought I'd check down there. I don't even know. Frankly, right now, I don't even know what I was thinking at that time either. It's usually pretty obvious if there's something going on at the bottom there. But yeah, this game is definitely built for speedrunning, and I think that in a lot of the later parts, you kind of learn that trying to go immediately works out. Yeah, that's the end of the first chapter, by the way. That's it. 15 minutes in, it's done. I think that Celeste Mountain thing was also in the original Pico 8 Celeste 2. But yeah, you learn pretty quickly that because it's built to be speedrun, that a lot of the cycles that things are on are built so that you can immediately start going from the very beginning, which also is a thing that relieves a lot of the frustration. Yeah, I kind of feel like that about this LP too, considering some of the more difficult parts of the levels that I've experienced so far. We'll see. We'll see. That is one enormous bird. Like, holy crap. Freaking albatross on your head there. 43 ain't too bad. You can obviously tell that I have cut out a lot of deaths or sped through a lot of them, which will definitely be happening a lot more in the future. Trust me on that. Global stats, whether for the game or literally for all of Steam. Not too much to be said here, but, you know. I'm not going to be looking at it too much. Crystal Hearts, I haven't seen any of those yet. No, don't worry. But yeah, I won't be looking too much at this. But since this is the first episode, might as well check it out once here. Yep, missing a few strawberries and one unique collectible here. Yeah, I decided to go with a speed up for this. Probably for the most of the other... Yeah, for the most of the other areas, I'm going to be largely sticking to... I mean, you can clearly see where the strawberry is. Yeah, right there. I'm going to be sticking more to just editing to that point rather than speeding up. I think when I was kind of figuring out how I wanted to be editing the episodes for this, I hewed a little bit closer to speed up rather than cuts, while later I'm going to be doing more cuts. So that's the boring editing talk for the episode. Yeah, it looked like there might have been a space below that spike down there. You can see kind of how there's an empty space. I don't know, maybe those are fake spikes. I don't think fake spikes are a thing in this game, so... I don't know. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't know how I didn't see that hole in the ceiling there, but... Hey, just because I don't get frustrated with this stuff doesn't mean that I'm not going to edit this so you don't get frustrated watching me die over and over. Otherwise, every single one of these episodes would be like 3 hours long, too. So, you know, I mean, hey. A surprisingly tricky little area to get into here. But also, another obvious area that I didn't hit up properly. And then there's also that other one with the secret entrance in the... Well... Okay, there, I just spoiled. There's a secret entrance that I didn't get into. I thought I would have had to, like, figure out how to curve my way around a pretty huge area there, so... When I was initially looking at it. Well, you'll see what I mean later. Yeah, you notice that there? I didn't! And that's why you got that, crossfade. Welcome to Beat Block Galaxy, everybody. Yeah, every time you're looking for one of these cassette tapes, they're always in this area with these blocks that pulse in and out of existence in tune to the music. They can't kill you, they just stay out of existence if you're over them until you move away from them enough. This is such an absurdly easy puzzle. I had to keep in every single attempt here. Just Just because I knew I would want to berate myself later as I was doing the commentary. It's like, come on, for real. I have eyes, you know. I'll have you know that I am a... Actually, I have really terrible eyes. I wear some like thick Coke bottle glasses when I don't have contacts, which as of recently is a lot because I can't get in for an appointment. Okay, anyway, more stuff to do here. Picking back up where I ignored the B-side cassette there. Oh, what's a B-side? Oh, don't you worry about that. There's a reason why we're only about halfway through the episode right now, I'll tell you that. I like this little section. It's not difficult or anything, but it is just tricky enough. Granted that it would also help if I stopped holding left while also holding up, so, you know, be easier there. Yeah, I don't think there's any weird scrolling shenanigans where you have to go above the screen before it recognizes that, oh, yeah, you found the secret. Mario World style, for example. But, I don't know. I haven't played the entire game. I mean, you saw the area that I got to at in my test file there. So you should have a good... And like I said, I have not done... I've gotten a pretty minimal amount of strawberries in that file and everything, too, so... Aside from the most critical path in the game, I haven't really done too much other than that. Yeah, here's where I try to figure out the puzzle of the up arrow. Have you realized the riddle? It is, for real, not that difficult. I should honestly probably just edit this out again. Well, if it's still in the video, then you know. Oh, there it is. Yeah, for whatever reason, like a lot of the areas in this game are not... I think at this point I was just not quite used to looking for, you know, the language of secrets in the game, so it was kind of screwing me up a little bit here, but... I think that later on I get a little bit better at figuring out what's what. Because there are a few pretty obvious secrets here that I missed that I definitely wouldn't be missing right now. Having gotten a little bit farther in the game. Also, not a difficult area, yet for some reason it is. At least you get a pretty good look at what Madeline looks like when she starts to run out of stamina. Yep. You can actually get... I don't know, like the bottom tile of Madeline. She has a unique animation when she's sort of hanging off the edge, and that's how you know that you can actually dash and not into the wall, but past the wall at that point. It's sort of hard to explain, but you'll see it a little bit more later. There's that adaptive music that I was talking about. Look at this obvious puzzle. So yeah, monitor, blinks colors, you got birds that are clearly specific colors, and they're going in 8 directions, like your dash. It's obvious. And the thing is, I did actually have it figured out there, but I was, what was it? I was writing the yellow bird as upper... By the way, that little pause there was me clicking onto the notepad file that I had everything written down. Yeah, I had the yellow bird as going upper right instead of upper left. Which is why I had to cut away and then cut back here. Yeah, the fact that they're going 8 directions. And there we are. There's that crystal heart they were talking about. And no, you can't just collect it. You do need to actually dash into it. Oh boy, crystal hearts. So, here's the deal with crystal hearts. Blue crystal hearts, like these ones, I'm sure they probably unlock something later. It doesn't really matter. There's one of them in every single area, in every single A side and every single B side. And it seems like every single one that you get in the A-sides are related to some kind of puzzle. You need to figure out some sort of puzzle, whether it's a actual like video game puzzle like that one, exploiting, here we go, exploiting some sort of mechanic in the game, and one of them is actually just straight up, do you know about how to get the first warp whistle in Super Mario Bros. 3? Which I do, by the way, but it's like I can imagine that a lot of people didn't get that. B-sides! Oh boy! So it's pretty much the same sort of level, same sort of gimmicks and everything, but remixed to be much, much more difficult. Expect a lot of editing here. Gotta be a little bit faster than that before you run out of stamina. Also, something I didn't know when I was originally playing the game, apparently the remix of the... I mean, this B-side is called Sever the Skyline, and that's also the name of the music for every single B-track, etc., etc. But I didn't realize that apparently Maxo composed the B-side for this one. I like that dude. He does a lot of really good chiptune music. Good to see him. Good to see him working on the game. Yeah, there's the whole thing where even if you run out of stamina, you can still... I don't even know what I was trying with that one there. But, yeah, when you, what is it that I'm thinking of? When you run out of stamina, you can still jump off of walls, which can get you a little bit more height, but usually the game is designed in a way that... that is clearly not the way you're supposed to do that, but whatever, I did it anyway. Take that, Thorson! Can't tell me what to do. Ah, there's that whole momentum thing getting used proper. Ah, so close. Choked right at the last second. Yeah, usually the game is designed that there are spikes on the wall, so you can't, like, infinitely do wall jumps up there. Though I like that this clearly shows you kind of how that works. Get these... I don't know what the actual name of these things are, but it allows you to see the entire area, which is super helpful, because sometimes you will be doing some... what do you call it? Blind jumps otherwise. You get the adrenaline pumping, and then you tunnel vision too hard, and you can't really look around to see what your next move is going to be. Here, these things kind of let you plan it out a little bit more. I do like that a lot. It's a good addition to the game, is what I'm saying. Although watching me look through it for like a solid minute there is maybe not the best addition to this video series. Yeah, look at these super precise jumps. And this is also, I think, where maybe the first time in the game, well, provided that you unlock the B-side and then wanted to do the B-side. This is pretty much the first time in the game I want to say that you'll notice that crystals will restore your stamina, allowing you to climb, well, a lot longer on walls, which, yeah, does that get exploited a lot in the game? Yep. A lot of the gimmicks are not reused in other areas of the game, but the green crystals definitely are. But like those, the stoplight platforms, not nearly as much. Which, I don't know, in some ways, is that good? Is that bad? I'm of two minds. Combination lock. That's the name of this section. Oh boy. I mean, this is also, hey, the first section beaten because you can see the little mountain symbol in the background there. Oh boy, this one is responsible for most of my deaths in the in Sever the Skyline here. Yeesh. I mean, this is also where I have to kind of think about, like, how am I going to edit this? Because there's so much going on. Thankfully, I just decided, you know what, let's just skip through most of it. Because that was easily, like, over 100 deaths just trying to figure out that one. I do like that in the B-side, I think what they do is they try to space it out a little bit so that harder sections, like the start of combination lock there, is followed by an easier section. Like this one, not nearly as bad as doing that first part there. Of course, the next bit here, a little bit more difficult. You know, I'll say this, the main campaign of the game, as you could call it, compared to the B-sides, it's almost like a huge extended tutorial. It's, like, the main game itself is just one huge tutorial for these sort of challenge levels, because the difficulty does not even come close to comparing. I died, what, 40 times or something, and a lot of that was probably getting strawberries in the secret section, and then you get into B-side here, and this is one of the easier B-sides. I guess, you know, that's the whole thing with, yeah, I mean, it preps you up, gives you a nice story. There's something for everybody here in Celeste. I can appreciate that. Also, even at the time, I was thinking... Also, I was thinking that this looks a lot like the kid section in Super Meat Boy, his specific stage. At least one part of it. Probably because it's in a city, but... For some reason, the way that everything is kind of vertical columns like that reminds... I don't know. This is definitely an area that I died way, way more than I should have, because it's pretty obvious what to do, and you do... When you get near the bottom, when you get near the exit there, you do start to run out of stamina pretty quickly, but it was really that whole choking and forgetting what the dash was and what the jump is that I think was doing me in more than anything else. Anyway, here we go. Nope, I lied. I gotta edit it to keep you on your toes. I don't want you knowing exact... Just because the speed up stopped here, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna beat this area. God, it took so long here. I mean, that stamina really, the whole stamina idea does really put you on the clock in each one of these sections here. I mean, you can't just take your time, take forever, and line up every single jump to be absolutely perfect. Which, you know, good, but also, damn, Thorson, you really... You really didn't want me having an easy time here, did you? Yeah, Matt Thorson, creator of the Jumper series, very, very similar. I would definitely consider that a challenge platformer series. Very similar to Super Meat Boy. Like, even Ogmo is a very similarly designed character to Meat Boy. It's weird. Also created a very, very good... What is it called? Metroid-style game called An Untitled Story, a game which I have 100%ed. Which is why I was definitely very interested as soon as I saw that Thorson was working on Celeste here. I mean, I did know about the original Celeste. Oh, by the way, this is the start of the third section here, which I think is called the Scrap Heap? Junk Pile? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's spikes and more of these moving platforms. So have fun, Meiku. Again, I'm not very difficult section, but in some ways you get so psyched out by the difficult sections that you just... Seeing something new breaks your mind. But yeah, Thorson, from what I understand, has also made a very popular... I can actually look this up because post-commentary... Which is, Towerfall? Yeah? Yeah, I guess that's one of his more popular games. I honestly do not know anything about it. Like, not even joking. I'm not being like, oh yeah, I know all of his original stuff, but I've never heard of the thing that made it popular. No, I honestly don't know anything about Towerfall. I don't really play a whole lot of mobile games. Not my bag. Honestly, I don't think I've ever actually played a mobile game before. I just straight up... I don't know, something about forcing touch controls and all the microtransactions and everything like that. Ugh. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of good stuff out there, but it's just... I don't know. Am I falling for the well being poisoned? Maybe a little bit. Remixes in this game are actually pretty good. Especially the one in the third chapter, which I like a lot. Maybe my favorite track in the game. Though again, I think it's more than just the... You got me. You got me with those spikes. It's the most obvious trap in the world, and it still got me. But yeah, I think that more than just having like a good melody, a good song here, the whole adaptive music does really add a lot to the whole atmosphere of it. But you know, again, I can't expend all of my commentary juice on the first episode here. I'll save that for later. Kind of. Yeah, one of those things that looks easy, not that easy in practice. Well, I mean, it's not that difficult, but yeah, and then here you get to more of a little break section. Not even entirely sure what I was trying there. There is a thing. Generally, game designers try to be pretty conservative with the way that they design things, in the sense that they don't put things like red herring platforms in games like this, especially, where it's all about the skill and not about figuring out how to solve the level. Which goes entirely against something that I said earlier, but what do you want from me? These episodes are like going to be 40 minutes to an hour long each. I got plenty of time to be hypocritical. Yeah, it doesn't force you off of there. You actually do have to jump. So be prepared for that. Woof. Those moving platforms really are just the bane of my existence in the B-side here. Of course, it is the big gimmick of the Forsaken City, but at the same time, still, I couldn't just not get, for some reason, I couldn't get how to do the, what do you call it, how to do the momentum tricks easily. I mean, what you're supposed to do is not jump off while it's still moving, jump, you can see kind of how it has a big janky, good enough. You can see how it kind of has a big janky, like a shake back and forth. That's when you're supposed to jump. It's after it hits the end, not before it hits the end. And I died probably maybe about as much as I died in the first area of combination lock in this area, just because of that alone. Because this is the real test. Can you use these platforms to your advantage? Utilizing everything that these platforms can do. This is the ultimate test of your skills. At least for the first area. Oh, and did I say ultimate test your skills? I mean, look, I already told you that I know about the thing. You don't have to remind me. I know about it. I'm not looking forward to it. Oh boy, am I not looking forward to it. Also, again, I still don't know if these platforms actually do come back later in the game, since I've only been through about half of it. But I can tell you that they don't really appear past this point. This is mostly a Forsaken City thing. I don't know. Yeah, you can see there's where I just don't get it. I don't know why. It's pretty obvious. I don't know. I guess it's one of those things that it's obvious when you figure it out, but until then, yeah. So you can enjoy me just leaping into the pit over and over. Yes, Madeline, do you think this was a bad idea? Because, well, just watching myself play, I'm starting to come to that conclusion more and more. However, I saved it. No, I didn't. Oh, so close. And you can see that momentary pause there. That was when I was just like, aw. Definitely one of the things with B-side is that the music in the normal game, as well as dialogue bits, cutscenes, and all that sort of stuff, it really does make it, oh, this is the end, though. It really does make it seem like give you a sense of progression a lot more than in the B-side, where it just feels like you're going through screen after screen. You're like, I've gone through so many so far. It's got to be near the end, right? I mean, I suppose that it did take me a little while to realize that the mountain symbol, the Celeste logo in the background, kind of tells you when you've hit a new section, which is a pretty good way to gauge your success. I did all of B-side in like one sitting here, so that's not true for the other ones, I'll tell you that. I spaced them out a lot more so I would get less frustrated and hopefully die a lot less. But yeah, in the start of in this first B-side here, it really did feel like, oh man, how am I not at the end of this yet? I've gone through so many screens. And then later, when you're taking breaks in between, it's a lot more palatable. But yeah, every single one of these B-sides ends with the Beat Block Galaxy type area here, and you can see that the main goal of doing the B-side is to get a red crystal heart. The blue crystal hearts are puzzle focused. Red crystal hearts are, well, your reward for doing the B-side. Sever the Skyline, complete. And a nice shot of that bikini babe in the background asking if you're beach ready, which is utterly ridiculous. Where could a beach possibly be in this area? This is a frozen city. Even if you want to make an artificial beach, it's whatever. Get the same splash screen, except it says B-side complete this time. Although, really, the whole beach ready might be playing into some insecurities that Madeline has. Considering something that happens later in the story, that might be part of it. Who knows? I'll see you next time for The Old Site!